Well, good evening, everyone. It's good to see so many familiar faces and even some new. Well, as always, we will start the Darwin200 Q&A session with a quick introduction of the crew of the Oosterschelde and the Darwin200 team. Then we will then Stuart will prepare has prepared a presentation regarding the selection process of the Darwin Leaders. Then one of the patrons was recently, but Stuart will tell more about it, at his warehouse, and she is Jane Goodall. So most of you will know her for sure. Then we will have a detailed overview, which many of you have asked for the land-based tours, and we will explain on which places we will actually have a land-based tour and how you can sign up for the land-based tours. And then, of course, we will, as always, end with the questions you have. Some of you sent their questions over per email, but perhaps during the meeting, new questions will occur. So, well, we will address all of those. So to start with myself, I'm Matthias. I'm working at the office of the shipping company. Well, probably if you send an email or give us a call, I or Elvira will be the one addressing the question. And yeah, it's an amazing project to be working on with the team. And as it is only a few months away until the Oosterschelde will start the Darwin200 global voyage, everything is falling together, and that is an amazing process. And well, you are all very lucky to be part of it, I would say. Elvira.
Hi everyone, I'm Elvira. For the ones, I see a few familiar faces, but also a few new ones, so that's really nice. I also work in the office together with Matthias and Gerben. Gerben can't make it tonight, but Matthias and I will try to answer all the questions about the ship and the crew and all that kind of stuff. Well, and looking forward to speaking to you all. Stuart, I think.
Hello, it's an absolute pleasure to speak again tonight. I have to apologize. I'm currently visiting all of the ports on the voyage itinerary to set up the project activities. I just a few days ago got back from Santiago, Punta Arenas, and the Falkland Islands, and I've been doing so many talks to the conservation groups and NGOs that I've actually pretty much lost my voice. I've been talking too much, so I'm sorry if I sound a little bit croaky tonight, but hopefully you can just about hear me. So I look forward to giving an overview of the presentation this evening. So I'm from the Darwin200 side. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Well, it is for all of you good to know. For many who have been at these meetings, you have only seen the faces of Elvira, Gerben, myself, and Stuart. But next meeting we will introduce the rest of the Darwin200 core team, which is an absolute pleasure to be working with. And well, yeah, it's good to know, I would say. Yeah, actually, Stuart, can we start with the the overview of the selection process of Darwin Leaders?
Absolutely, perfect.
All right, I will share the.
Thanks so much. Alrighty, so as you all may know, the project is called Darwin200. The 200 doesn't actually signify the dates or anniversaries. The primary objective of the project is to create and train and empower 200 amazing young people that will change the world of tomorrow. These are called Darwin Leaders. So the presentation tonight.
PowerPoint.
Yep, perfect. Thanks so much. So I've got about a 5-minute overview of what we're doing currently and how we're selecting them. Then you're going to hear from our wonderful patron, Jane Goodall. We've pre-recorded a video with her concerning this. And then we're going to focus on the land-based tours, which are the add-on trips that you can take part in if you so wish. Okay, so as you may recall from previous meetings, we've got 3 objectives. Objective 1 is training the world's best young conservationists. We're selecting one from each of 200 countries and states around the world. These are the Darwin Leaders. We're creating an immense platform of online resources called the world's most exciting classroom. And last but not least, we're doing 5 really exciting research projects as the ship goes around the world. Tonight's talk is going to focus entirely on the Darwin Leaders. Some of you might have heard the first bit a little bit already, but just to recap who these people are and what they're doing, we're selecting one from each of 200 countries and states around the world. These are roughly 18 to 25-year-olds. They're coming into the ports where Charles Darwin made landfall. So they're not sailing on the ship, they're coming to the land, the ports where Darwin made landfall. If you can kindly go to the next slide. In a nutshell, what we're doing with them, we're selecting them, bringing them to the ports and giving them a really, really important life-changing program of activities that will train them and give them the skills they need to go back to their home countries and change the world of tomorrow. In a nutshell, they have to pick an animal or a plant that Charles Darwin studied, of which there are literally thousands, and they have to do 3 objectives. We're matching them with an NGO in those ports. We're paying the NGO to look after them and help them and mentor them. And they have to do 3 things. Objective 1 is look at how their animal or plant has changed in the last 200 years and make a short video, a short photo essay, and a written report concerning that subject. Objective 2, look at the current conservation work that the NGOs are undertaking and if it's working. And again, make a short video, a short written report, and a short photo essay. And the last objective, they've got to use their brains, get out there and work out what more could be done. And again, make a short video, short photo report, and a short written essay about what they think more could be done. So to take a really quick example, let's say we take someone from Texas and take them to the Galapagos Islands. They might choose to study frigate birds in the Galapagos. A big problem there is that frigate birds swoop down, catch a fish as a fisherman's reeling in the line. The fisherman just cuts the line, the bird flies back to its tree with the line dangling out of its mouth. It lands in the tree, that line gets caught around the tree, killing the bird and any other birds that land in like a deadly spider web. So the Darwin leader in this particular example would have to go and study those frigate birds with the NGO partner. And as I say, objective 1, look at how it's changed, population's changed over the last 200 years. Objective 2, look at what's currently being done. What is the NGO doing to help stop this problem, basically, and is it working? And 3, get out there and investigate and use their brains to find out what more could be done. They might interview the fishermen. Why do they cut the lines and let the frigate birds fly off with it dangling out? You could easily dehook them, for example, or you could use biodegradable line, etc., etc. So that's the kind of the package of activities that we're wanting these Darwin leaders to undertake. It's an immense task selecting them. We don't just want to bring anyone on these places. The places are worth, 10 to 20,000 euros each. That's very expensive to undertake this program. If you can go to the next slide.
Of course.
Oh, thanks. So as you may recall, we did a test voyage around the UK twice. And this was very useful for working out how to select them and what they do. Basically, during the test voyages, which we did in 2020 and 2021, they were kind of like the global voyage in miniature. It was at the very height of COVID, so we couldn't cross international boundaries and borders. So we just basically circumnavigated the UK twice, once each year. And we brought on about 30 young people in the first year, if I remember correctly, and a similar number in the second year, in various legs around the UK doing different sections. And again, it was really like the global voyage in miniature. If you can go to the next slide. The projects weren't as focused. They looked at a range of different subjects from water quality, plastic levels, seabird surveys, cetacean, whale and dolphin surveys, algal blooms and plankton, and many other factors like that. All relatively simple experiments, but in a different way from the global voyage, these were actually done aboard the ship. Now, this was a really, really good learning exercise. I'm happy to admit we got some things right, we got some things wrong, and we learned a lot from this. But most importantly, we learned about the selection process. If you go to the next slide, I think there's just a few shots of the of these young scientists doing different projects in different locations, including marine surveys and marine biology surveys and so forth. Yeah, so what we did in the global and the UK voyage is literally just pay for a load of social media and say, hey, if anyone's interested in taking part, this is how you apply. Now that worked. We got literally thousands and thousands and thousands of people applying. But if I'm honest, quite a lot of them just basically wanted a free holiday and weren't that really interested in nature and just said, yeah, we've got a pet dog, or yeah, I've loved nature for years, and that's that. We got an amazing group in the end, but it's very, very hard wading through hundreds or thousands of application forms and selecting the ones that you think best. Oh, sorry, can you go back for 1 sec?
I'm
Sorry.
so sorry.
So for the global voyage, we've developed a completely different strategy, which I think works better and is a smarter way of doing it. We've partnered with several really amazing organizations, such as Sylvia Earle and her incredible Jane Goodall, such as Jane Goodall and her amazing Jane Goodall Institute, which have roots and shoots groups in 67 countries around the world with tens of millions of members. Similarly with Sylvia Earle and her Mission Blue, Sarah Darwin, and many other organizations and NGOs and partners like that. And what we're doing is going to those NGOs that obviously have been working for decades in the conservation sphere, saying, look, put forward your best candidate from such and such a country or state or territory. So for example, with Jane Goodall, we've offered every single country in which Jane Goodall's groups operate to put forward their best, or in larger countries, multiple leaders, candidates to be leaders from those countries. And it's working really, really well because naturally they've risen through the ranks in those organizations. And it's like a natural selection process that weeds out, it basically leaves the very, very best candidates. And we trust these organizations to put forward to. I have to say, going through some of them already, it's pretty amazing meeting some of these young people. Again, we are not looking for normal people. The criteria, as we're receiving these applications, is what they've done to change the world and make it a better place. What they've done. The criteria is very, very simple. It doesn't matter whether they've been to university or college. It doesn't even matter whether they can read or write, because some of these people are coming from really remote areas, for example, in Papua New Guinea and Ethiopia and places. The one criteria that we're looking for is what they've done to make the world a better place, what they've done to pull up their bootstraps, get out there and change the world. And that might be planting 1,000 trees around their village, or rebuilding habitats, or stopping coastal erosion, or whatever. And that's the criteria that we're looking for. And the really amazing thing about these young people is that you don't even need to read the applications. The ones that stand out just glow. They've got so much energy and passion. They're the people you can't hold back from making a difference. I'll give you one very, very quick example. For example, here in the UK, there's a 17-year-old, and he's not from a rich background. This wasn't mummy and daddy paying for this. He, at the age of 17, raised 50,000 UK pounds, British pounds, which is about 60,000 euros, bought a peat bog, managed the burning of non-native vegetation that had smothered the peat bog, and rehabilitated the native plants and animals to restore an ancient ecosystem, the natural ecosystem. And he did that at the age of 17. Those are the people that we're looking for. And as I say, it's not about academic qualifications. It's about that raw ability to make things happen. And they really glow, they shine. And you can just see them, you can just tell them straight away. Anyway, we're working, as I mentioned, with the wonderful Jane Goodall, shown here. And last Saturday, she very kindly came and we did a little video, which we're going to show you now, that we're filtering down into all of her organizations, all of her roots and shoots groups around the world, as of about 2 weeks' time, to put forward their best candidates. So without a further ado, if Matthias would be so kind as to play the little video.
Definitely.
Cool.
Definitely.
Okay.
I actually can't wait. I've seen it twice today, but I still can't wait. No, it can't. Can you all see my screen? All right.
Yep.
Let's see. Is it this one? No. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm too bad. What? we will do it.
Darwin200 is looking for the world's very best young conservationists to take part in the upcoming global voyage. We will bring groups of the world's elite young conservationists into the ports where Charles Darwin studied animals and plants. They will take part in a life-changing program of conservation projects and activities, and will give them the skills they need to help change the world of tomorrow and make the planet a better place.
I believe that this project is tremendously important. It comes at the right time. We all know we're in the midst of the 6th great extinction. There's a lot of doom and gloom about the problems facing the environment, climate change, loss of biodiversity. And this voyage will give many young people an opportunity to see there is still time to make change, and that every single person can make a difference every single day. And for those who are not selected, there's still an opportunity to make change in your own life. We all matter. We all have a role to play. We can all help make a difference. But for those who are selected, this is an incredible opportunity to become a real leader, to save the planet and the environment for future generations. Every single young person can make a difference. And by giving an opportunity to those who have shown real passion and energy to go on this extraordinary voyage around the world, following the footsteps of my hero, Charles Darwin, they are going to be in the perfect position to be leaders in the fight to save what remains on this planet of nature.
So we're looking for passionate, talented conservationists of the future from the ages of 18 to 25, one from each of 200 countries and states, to join us on this voyage. This project will empower the STEM leaders of the future. Visit Darwin200.com.
We need you, and you're there. Take advantage of this opportunity. Join this amazing voyage. Apply now.
So,
We're back on track.
so obviously Jane Goodall is an I'm sure everyone knows her, but in case anyone doesn't, she is an absolutely extraordinary person. She's pioneered, she's the foremost expert primatologist in chimpanzees. She's founded the Jane Goodall Institute, which have set up countless projects. She's directly responsible for numerous massive nature reserves, including Gombe in Tanzania. And as I mentioned earlier, has built up a network of literally millions of young people that are working for change to create a better future of tomorrow. So, I mean, if anyone encapsulates what we're trying to do here, this is Jane Goodall. And even if a few of the 200 Darwin leaders go even a small way to following in her footsteps, the project can have a truly global impact. So we are honestly honored beyond words for her kind support. And she's been so generous from the start of the entire project with her time and helping making this happen. So we're launching a new website in a couple of weeks at the beginning of April. Sorry, about a month or so. By the time we have our next Q&A session, it will be live or very, very nearly live with the full application process. As I mentioned earlier, we're primarily getting applications from organizations that are putting forward their best people from countries, but it's also definitely open to members of the public. We're just asking that people suitable candidates are nominated by some kind of organization. It could be a conservation group or a university or a college or a school, which just helps filter out and keep the candidates, you know, to a really high level. So, but by virtue of them being nominated, there'll be a selective process there naturally. So yeah, it's open absolutely to the public. So if you know any extraordinary young people, roughly 18 to 25, we're deliberately keeping the upper limit a bit vague, though if there's incredible candidates that are 26, 27, 28, it doesn't matter, we take them. But they're legally adults, so they have to be over 18, unfortunately. And so, yeah, if you do know anyone, please bear this in mind, and please either get them to email info@Darwin200, or in a few weeks' time, we'll have the new site live with the full application process if you'd like to join. So before my voice gives out, I guess we should probably start the land-based tour presentation.
Yeah, and before that, I think it's good that we have decided at this point that we will only organize a land-based tour in Mindelo on Cape Verde, on the Falkland Islands for all voyages, either departing, embarking there or disembarking there, on St. Helena Island and on Ascension Island. And perhaps, well, Elvira to start, and perhaps Stu will explain why we have decided to only have a few land-based tours.
Sure. Should I take that, or would Elvira? Sure. Oh, I think Elvira might be muted. I think she wants to do it.
I'm so sorry, Elvira.
Thanks. Yeah, it's as you can imagine, the team at the moment is still well, the shipping company and Stuart and a few others on the background, but it's a huge undertaking. So we have decided that to only do the land-based tours in the areas that we have special expertise. So Stuart is well known on the islands. He will be organizing a land-based tours. We've been visiting Cape Verde for over, I think, 12 years already. And on the other islands, we really want to invite you guys to share your ideas on what you're going to do in the places in the community, because people can, well, jump in, use maybe the same travel organization, so we can share information, because for us it will be also the first time that we will be visiting Mangareva, or the first time we'll be visiting Easter Island. So for us, well, we have to focus on the stuff that's really important. For the ship, it's of course well, getting you safe to all the places and all the voyage planning, and for Stu, of course, the whole Darwin200 project. So I don't know if Stuart has to add something to that, but that's the reason for us, at least, that we focus on just a few places.
Absolutely. I mean, the places that we've selected out of the 32 voyage legs are specifically the places that are quite difficult for you otherwise to do activities. I mean, relatively few people know Ascension Island or St. Helena or the Falklands and so forth. Whereas, you know, Rio de Janeiro, I mean, my goodness, you don't need a land-based tour. There's so many things you can do there. There's literally thousands of tourist operators that you can book trips with. And so it's better that you just do it direct with them. But we've worked really hard organizing the tours in the 4 locations that we're putting forward, specifically to make it easier for you, so that if you want to just organize, if you want to organize, you know, just an add-on trip when you go to these amazing places, you can. The talk this evening focuses solely on St. Helena and the Falkland Islands. Ascension is a little bit more complicated. I'll talk a little bit about it in a second. The flights are about to restart. There are flights currently, but they're quite irregular. Regular flights are starting back again in later this year. They should definitely be in time for obviously when we visit. So we are doing a land-based tour. Ascension Island is amazing, but we need a bit more time until that takes place. Oh, I think John very kindly just mentioned concerning the Galapagos. Those sailing from Puerto Lucia to the Galapagos, we've built in, as mentioned in the itinerary documents, a few days exploring the Galapagos anyway. So we haven't put a separate land-based tour for the Galapagos. I'm going there in a few weeks. If you want me to, I can find out some tour companies. But there's so many companies working in the Galapagos. Again, you don't really need us to organize a longer tour.
I would like to to add that in for us, we have some places, both the shipping company and Darwin, where we would like to organize a land-based tours, and in those places we are working on finding a partner who could well execute those land-based tours. But it was more in general that for places, if you're sailing to or from Sydney, Auckland, like those places, Tenerife, or then you should not well expect a land-based tours, because it is relatively safe to be there, and the tourists information points and tour operators are in an enormously number. So we will not well prepare land-based tours there, but hopefully we can offer many more. But these four, of which Stuart will present 3, are certain. And well, for those of you who can join on those voyages, you'll be really well, lucky, I would say. Should I start the presentations too?
Yes, please, if you don't mind, that'd be amazing.
Of course.
Thanks.
Let me see where we were. Yeah.
Okay, so it's just after the Jane Goodall slide, if that's okay. Thanks. Okay, so I literally have just come back Falklands a couple of weeks ago, setting up both the project activities and specifically this land-based tour. I cannot believe that there's still places available on leg 9 and leg 10 to and from the Falklands. It is astonishing, because this is, in my opinion, the best place in the world. I love this place so much. Forget any images you've got, forget any ideas you've got of the Falklands. You know, people think it's a cold, wet, rainy load of islands off the tip of South America. It's not. It's actually a semi-arid environment. This year, it's been unbelievably dry. It is windy, it's windswept, but it has the most amazing wildlife. So Matthias, if you don't mind skipping through the old slides. Yeah, it is astonishing. So most people don't realize the islands have 5 species of penguins. They've got sea lions, elephant seals, fur seals. They've got cormorants. They've got the world's biggest albatross colony. They've got cormorant dolphins. They've got, I think, about 9 other whales and dolphin species. It is an absolute wildlife treasure trove. So if you're joining tonight and not sure about what leg to join, I cannot recommend the Falkland Islands enough. In leg 9, we're hoping to make a stop or 2 before reaching Stanley. We budgeted in 2 extra days. It is contingent on permissions from the Falkland Islands government, but it looks like it'll be absolutely no problem. I was just literally with them just over a week ago. We'll be able to visit some of these sites on the route to Stanley. But the land-based tour that we've organized gives everyone an option to see these incredible places, and a lot more of them as well. Okay, next slide. Basically it really is a wildlife paradise. There's over 63 land birds, including 16 that occur nowhere else in the world. It's kind of like going to South Georgia and Antarctica, but without the really rough transit across the Southern Ocean. So it's a really amazing place for those that want to savor polar wildlife. Okay, next slide. I should also add, the really great thing about this place is that a lot of the wildlife is totally unhabituated to mankind. So unlike Svalbard and Greenland, if you go up to the northern polar latitudes, down in the south, yeah, many of the animals literally don't care about you. I mean, I was, again, just there a week ago. I was lying down and Gen 2 penguins were literally pecking the lens of my camera. They literally come up to you and peck. So yeah, and the itinerary that we tried to put together hopefully offers some of the best wildlife sites. I've gone to all of these locations multiple times, and really hope you enjoy it. Oh, Wayne's just asked if it'll be available for leg 28. Yes, absolutely. You're going to hear in a second. It's available for legs 9, 10, and 27 and 28, because we've got 4, like 2 pairs starting and ending and starting, ending and starting in Stanley. So very quickly, Stanley is home to just over 2,000 people. It's a really extraordinary place. As you may know, it is a UK overseas territory, but it's been inhabited for hundreds of years there's at least 9 generations of islanders. They've got a very proud and distinct culture, all of their own. They're some of the nicest people you meet on Earth. If you keep going. Yeah, in the summer, like now, it's not hot. It's generally, yeah, between 10 and about 22 degrees C. So it's mild, you need a jacket, but it's not polar, it's not ice, it's not cold, it's not glaciers. It can get cold when it's windy, but yeah, you need warm clothes, but you definitely don't need like ice gear. It's not Antarctica, it's not South Georgia. You need good windproof clothes and a good jacket, and you'll be right. And I had a hat and a scarf some days when it was windy, but yeah, it's not icy. It's cool / cold, not icy. Think like a spring morning in Europe, like in Holland, for example. Think like April, something like that. March, April, early May, something like that. Okay, so what we've tried to do is combine a really great itinerary whereby you fly from Stanley to 3 awesome islands. So the archipelago consists of about 700 islands. Many of them are tiny. There's 2 main ones, East Falkland and West Falkland. And around those, there's about 10 islands with lodges on. And so in this land-based tour, we're going to fly from Stanley out to Sea Lion Island, then up to Pebble, then to Bleaker, and then back to Stanley. Again, I've been to all of these many times. They are amazing. Each island is totally different. They've got different assemblages of animals. They're really, really, really varied and just super duper interesting. Then last but not least, when we get back to Stanley, we've got a land-based 4-wheel drive trip to Volunteer Point up in the northeast, which is where there's a massive colony of king penguins, which we won't really see on the islands. You see 1 or 2, but at Volunteer Point, there's like 2,000 of them. 2,000 pairs, I believe. So 4,000 plus birds. Okay, next slide. So the landscape it's often described as, it's not pretty, but my God, it's beautiful. It's kind of like Scotland in that way. It's dramatic, it's bleak, it's barren, but it's absolutely beautiful. And especially when the sun shines on it, it's hypnotic. It's this really, really dramatic moorland landscape. Next slide. Yeah, it has some of the most beautiful beaches you can imagine, littered with penguins and wildlife, as you're going to see. Okay, just to give a bit of context, it has its own currency called the Falklands pound, which is tied in parity to the British pound sterling. You can withdraw cash in Stanley, but you really don't need to. Literally everywhere takes credit cards, so it's super easy. You don't really need it. There are supermarkets. You can buy anything that you need there, equipment, food, gear, etc., and it's incredibly safe. It's one of the safest places I know of. I don't think there's been a crime there for years. And whenever someone, like, I don't know, has a bucket stolen, it'll make the local newspaper, which is called the Penguin News. So it's really sweet in that regard. It's incredibly safe. Okay. All of the lodges that we're going to be staying at, and all of the lodges across the islands, have they're really, really nice. They all have a seal of approval. It's known as the green seal, and it's literally a seal. They're all very, very small. The islands that we go to only have 12, 14, or 16, accommodation of 12, 14, or 16 people. So there's only like 8 or 9 or 10 rooms. They're very, very small lodges. It's very boutique, very, very nice. And yeah, it's just a lovely, lovely place to visit and explore. They're very small communities. On many of these islands, there's literally just 3 or 4 or 5 permanent residents, and they operate the lodges. They generally have amazing cooks, chefs that they employ from Chile that come over for the season. The food is awesome in these lodges, and that they have little bars with wine that you can enjoy each night. They're really well maintained. Okay, next slide. So that's an example of an island. The communities are generally sort of tucked away in sheltered parts of the islands. There are no native trees to the Falklands, but some have been planted around the settlements. And that'll be a family, of 3, 4, 5 people, and there'll be a lodge there, which is just a separate house with private rooms and a dining area with a cook and so forth. And you basically then explore the island from that lodge. When you arrive, you're given a guided tour and shown all the key sites. Usually they give you a Land Rover, or on the smaller islands, you just walk. It's not particularly far or difficult, and it's pretty flat. And then once you've been shown around the island by the local people, you're kind of left to explore on your own and go where you want to and see the amazing animals that you want to. Okay, next shot. So yeah, to be clear, the accommodation is really nice. It's lodge style. There's heating, there's tea, coffee, all meals are included. You can bring alcohol if you want to, but they all have alcohol in very, very basic shops. You can buy snacks and so forth, but basically you should bring anything that you think you need, like clothing or gear like that with you, because you definitely won't be able to buy them on the outer islands. Okay, next shot. Well, as you explore each island, the terrain is really flat. As I mentioned, you have a guided tour at the start, and then you go out to explore the wildlife. Each island is different. In some cases, the wildlife is literally outside the door of the lodge. And I literally mean this. Like on Sea Lion Island, the penguins are just outside the lodge. They can actually keep you up at night by their squawking and chattering. And say they're so close. If you lie down, particularly the chicks in January, February, which is when these land-based tours will be taking place, the chicks will be quite big then, and they'll literally walk up to you and start pecking the lens of your camera. It's so cute. So yeah, really interesting. You fly around the archipelago with these local planes. They're called FIGAS planes. They're really good. They're really reliable. They've got excellent safety. They're very, very good planes. They're really rugged. They're really strong. And the pilots are just fantastic. They'll often do, 3 flights sometimes to each island each day. So there's really good logistics in and out. And okay, it is possible that the big storm comes in and the flights are delayed, but particularly when we're going in the summer season, that's less likely. And yeah, I didn't have any problems at all visiting them over the last couple of weeks. They were all absolutely fine. Okay, next slide. So for the Falkland Islands, during the Darwin200 global voyage, we've organized three runnings of the land-based itinerary. The reason for this is legs 9 and 10 abut, and we're doing it basically in the middle of 9 and 10. So people ending on leg 9 at Stanley can join, but equally people can arrive early for leg 10 and do the tour. So we've got 3, even though it's 4 legs. So the first one is between 9 and 10. Here we go.
I'm so sorry, Stu.
Oh no, that's okay. That's all right. Leg 9 disembarks in Stanley on the 5th of January, 2024, which, my goodness, is not long away. Then leg 10 embarks on January the 13th. So the trip, in this case, is 9 days. All of the 3 trips are exactly the same, and they run for 9 days. In this case of the first trip, it's from the 5th to the 13th. And we've specifically designed it so that at the end of this trip, there's some buffer time, as in the plan is we're flying back to Stanley on the 11th, but just in case of bad weather, we've got the 12th and the 13th, to build in some buffer. So there's no chance of missing the ship if you're on leg 10. So I think they're really well structured in that sense. There's buffer time in them. Leg 2 disembarks in Stanley on the 19th. And then that trip 2, the second trip, Falkland Island land-based tour, runs from the 19th to the 27th. Then leg 3, oh, I'm sorry, I actually put in the dates twice here by accident. Sorry about that. Leg 3 embarks on the 25th, and that one starts on the 17th to the 25th. Sorry, I put the dates in there incorrectly. The 17th to the 25th. So if you go to the next slide, all of them have exactly the same itinerary. Basically, we picked out the 3 best, or among the very best islands. We've got 2 days on each of those islands, which I'm going to show you really, really quickly in a second what they've got on them. Return to Stanley, explore Stanley, and see the amazing museum on the islands. Then on day 8, go out to Volunteer Point to these epic population of king penguins, and then come back on day 9. And depending on which leg you are, if you're on a leg that follows the voyage, the land-based tour, then you embark that day onto Oosterschelde and start your voyage. Again, it's specifically designed around the dates. So Sea Lion Island is down there in the south. Thanks. If you go to the next slide, You might want these a bit quick, because I probably put in a few too many. So it's the most southerly of all the islands. It has a huge number of massive elephant seals. It has about 40 species of seabirds. It has the endemic Cobb's wren, which is found nowhere else outside the Falklands in the world. And it's the best place in the Falklands to spot orcas, killer whales. That's a little map of the island. The lodge is in the north. And yeah, rolling through some of the sites that you can see on this island, you'll definitely see loads of elephant seals. We saw maybe 60 or 70 around the island a couple of weeks ago. And you'll see pretty, like, okay, this isn't a big colony. You'll see on Bleaker Island, there's so many, like 100 times this, but still you'll see good numbers of shags. These are cormorants, and rockhopper penguins shown here. Oh, I think Laurie has just asked if we're going to post this presentation. Yes, definitely. We record each presentation and put them on both the community pages and the Darwin200 YouTube channel. So definitely, we'll send it around in a second. Yeah, you'll see lovely rockhopper penguins in very large numbers all around the island. Cool. Next slide. They're really cute. Yeah, particularly in the south, there's a really good colony of them that are true to the name, jumping up and down the cliffs into these really rocky habitats where they raise their young. Next slide. You'll see this amazing bird of prey called the striated caracara. This bird actually mugged Charles Darwin. They're scavengers. They're attracted to anything that they're not familiar with. And they literally will pick things up and fly off with them. And poor old Darwin lost his hat, his gloves, and a load of other things. And he didn't enjoy the Falklands very much, largely because of these birds. But they're amazing predators, and they're amazing to see in the wild. Okay, then from Sea Lion Island, we could actually head up to Pebble Island. If you go to the next slide. This is the endemic flightless steamer ducks, large numbers of gentoos and rockhoppers, giant petrels, cormorants, dolphins, and the legacy from the Falklands War. This was one of the 2 airstrips that were operational at that time. So there are actually 2 wreck sites of the destroyed Argentinian planes that you can see. In terms of wildlife, the island, yeah, it's a long, narrow island. The lodge is kind of near the neck of that huge bay that you see there. It's just south of that big bay. Yep, that one there, perfect. It's the northwest of the island. It's got really large rockhopper penguin colonies. Yeah, as you can see here, it's a really good place, one of the best places to see this tiny little cetacean called the cormorant's dolphin. I believe it's actually a porpoise despite its name, but you'll see them riding in the waves. More rockhopper penguins, lots of them. Lots and lots of them. Loads of gentoo penguins. These are juveniles fledging. So you see lots of fluffy chicks, as well as the adults coming in to feed them. Cool. Yeah, those are some of the, I think, submature or adults. They're having a little squawk. Just amazing coastline. So Pebble Island is much bigger than the other islands, or rather much bigger than Sea Lion Island. And it does involve quite a bit of driving around. We get used to a 4-wheel drive for this island. But the coastline is incredible. There's always something amazing to see. So it's really worth exploring. Cool. Then on to Bleaker Island, which is down there in the south. Sorry, I think actually that map isn't quite correct, but it doesn't matter. It's down there in the south, just north of Sea Lion Island. Okay, there, sorry, yeah. So this is really special because it has an enormous population of cormorants. It has amazing white beaches with gentoos and other penguins. And this is sometimes seen leopard seals here. So really quickly rolling through the shots. That's Bleaker Island. Yeah, this is Sandy Bay, known because it is literally a sandy bay. And it's absolutely breathtaking. The penguins, thousands of penguins, Magellanic penguins, gentoo penguins, all come ashore. It's a really good place to see South American sea lions, such as this guy shown here. And it's a brilliant place to see thousands upon thousands of cormorants. They form a massive colony. I forget how many thousand, I think it's at least 20,000 strong right near the lodge. And as I mentioned earlier, a really good place to see the old leopard seals as well. Then last but not least, we go to Volunteer Point out there in white. And Volunteer Point's really special. It's all about the king penguins. So by this point in the trip, you'll have seen 4 species of penguins. But this place, if you keep going, that's the gentoos. That's a small population of gentoos. And there's about 2,000, this is only part of the group. There's about 2,000 pairs of king penguins all through this area. It's really, really cool to go and see them. Really spectacular. And this species raises their chicks throughout the season. So there'll be tiny baby eggs, chicks and eggs all the way up to big ones. So it's a really cool trip. So that's the 9-day trip. We've tried to keep it as cost effective as possible. It costs £4,600. It's all inclusive, all food, all accommodation, all internal flights, of which there's 4, all logistics and all permits. The Falklands, as I mentioned earlier,
I'm so sorry.
Falklands, as mentioned earlier, is difficult because on all of these islands, there's literally just 12 or 14 or 16 beds. And often you have to book 2 years in advance. I've been working on this trip for 6 months to pull it together. And we've actually managed to reserve 12 berths, 12 beds basically, for each of the 3 trips, which is a minor miracle because normally it's insanely booked out even 18 months, 2 years ahead. But we've got those places. So if anyone wants to come, we've basically got 12 places on each running of the trip. And if you want it to be longer or shorter, the team in the Falklands can customize it as well. So if it's too long or too short, or you don't want it to be 8 days, 9 days, you want it to be 6 or 12, they can customize it as well. So it's a really, really awesome adventure. And I think it's a really great all-inclusive package that will get you out to some amazing places that hopefully will just take your breath away. Alrighty, then on to St. Helena, the next land-based tour. So St. Helena is simpler than the Falklands in some ways because we've only got 2 legs going to St. Helena, leg 29 and leg 30. We've deliberately organized this. It's only a 4-day trip. That takes in all the amazing sights of St. Helena. Trip 1, the people on leg 29 disembark on May the 10th, 2025. And the trip then runs on the 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. So those 4 days with the 3 nights accommodation between those 4 days. Then trip 2 runs immediately before leg 30. So on May the 15th, 16th, 17th, and then adjoining the ship on the 18th, as you can see down there. The 2 trips are exactly the same. They're actually configured a little bit differently because on the first trip, people come off Oosterschelde on day 1, and then we have 3 full days of activities. On the second trip, it's the other way around, of course. So we've got 3 full days of activities. Then on the 4th day, they join the ship. So it's exactly the same trip, just with a day leaving or a day joining. So basically, in kind of summary, it shows the best stuff that St. Helena has to offer. The first day of activities explores the incredible Jamestown. It's often called a walking museum, a living museum, because the city, I mean, it's littered with history, with ruins, with forts. It's got over 400 years of fortifications and history. It's famed for a massive ladder that goes up the slopes of the Jamestown Valley called Jacob's Ladder. And it's a really cool activity to climb up the Jacob's Ladder. But if anyone doesn't want to, we've chartered vehicles to then drive anyone that doesn't want to up the road. At the top, there's an amazing Victorian barracks and a massive castle called Fort High Knoll, up here on the top in that photo. So we'll spend the afternoon exploring. The food, by the way, is amazing. You can catch you can have pole line tuna that's come straight off the boats. It's just incredible food. So we go and do that. Then in that evening of day 1, we go to the museum and see the amazing exhibits and a live talk there at the museum. Day 2, For those that want to, we can go out and see a unique bird that occurs nowhere else in the world. It's called the wirebird. It's only on St. Helena with the conservationists from the island. Then go to Government House. And if we're really lucky, we might be able to meet the governor. Regardless of that, they will definitely meet Jonathan, the oldest animal alive today, land animal alive today. He's a Seychelles giant tortoise that supposedly hatched in around 1832. So he's incredibly old and was nearly alive with Napoleon Bonaparte. Then there's some amazing walks to see some really spectacular parts of the island down to Sandy Bay, where you'll see unique plants and these amazing seabirds called masked boobies. So you see a lot of really awesome wildlife and hopefully meet the governor on that day, on the second day. On the third day, we go and see perhaps the most famous parts of St. Helena, the legacy of Napoleon Bonaparte. As you may know, this is where he was exiled after being defeated at the Battle of Waterloo. He initially went to a place called the Briars, which you go and visit, but then they transported him to his basically villa, which he spent the last 6 years of his life in, called Longwood. And it's literally like he was there yesterday. You can see all of the artifacts, the very room that he died in, his death mask, as you can see in that photo, and hear some incredible stories from the local St. Helenans, the saints, about what it was like having Emperor Bonaparte on St. Helena. Then there's a really interesting tomb where he was interred before being taken to France, or his remains taken to France a few years later. We then have lunch and then go to a beautiful heart-shaped waterfall. Then there's an amazing trek up a beautiful mountain called Diana's Peak. And then last but not least, on the last day of the first trip, have breakfast, then drop off at the ship. Sorry, this is the second trip. Day 4 on the first trip will be at the start, if you see what I mean. So so basically that's an overview of the St. Helena itinerary. It only costs £930. It's 4 days, 3 nights. It includes all accommodation. It's about £150 a night, just the accommodation alone, and all of the food and all of the logistics and permits and sorry, that should be on internal flights, but ground transportation there. So we've chartered vehicles and we've got it all super organized for everyone to take part. So these 2 trips are run through Redfern Adventures. You can just go to redfernadventures.com if you want to book. All of the information is already on that website. You can just email and this is my company. I'll basically help respond and help you book it if you want to. I'm going to personally be leading the St. Helena trip, so I'll personally be guiding you on that one. The Falklands one, it kind of works different. It's sort of self-guiding because you explore different areas of the island. You don't really need a guide. Everything's right on your doorstep. But I'll be personally guiding the St. Helena trip, and I really, really, really hope you'll enjoy them. So those are the land-based itineraries for the Falkland Islands and St. Helena. If I will, I'll just very quickly talk about Ascension Island just before hand back to Matthias. So for those going to Ascension Island or leaving from Ascension Island, Ascension is absolutely incredible. It has some of the most amazing seabird colonies in the world. It has the massive green turtle populations, the land crab migrations, the artificial rainforest, has forts, castles, amazing history. The slight problem, though, is that until the flights restart, it's called air bridge, they're military flights, but anyone can join them. Anyone can book places on them. Until the flights start, we can't finalize the itinerary of the land-based tours. We should have the flights in a few weeks or a few months, and then we can finalize the Ascension Island land-based tour. But we definitely will organize that. Obviously, we've got time, it's a couple of years away still. But anyone that is wanting to come to Ascension, trust me, Ascension Island is amazing. So I strongly recommend that one, should you be interested. So please don't hesitate to email if you have any questions or queries about either trips. We're not doing it for profit. There've been a massive amount of work just to organize. We've organized them honestly to help give you some extra activities at the end of your adventure or before your adventure on Oosterschelde. So we really, really hope that they actually help you, get the most out of your amazing trip. Oh, we just had a question concerning steeplechasing. Okay, I can talk to you about this. So, as you may know, for those on leg 9, we've planned a couple of extra days sailing from Puerto Santa Cruz in Argentina across to Stanley. The reason why we planned a couple of extra days is that hopefully we can land at a few islands en route. In the north of the Falkland Islands, which is where we'd be coming from, there's about 5 amazing islands. All of them are incredible, but there's one in particular called Steeplechase that is just out of this world. I've already been there. I filmed a BBC series there, or partly it was there. It has the world's biggest albatross colony on the planet there. And it's just out of this world. We'll do our very, very best to land there. We actually have to get special permission from the Falklands government to land there before clearing customs. And so we're working on that now. If that doesn't work, or if the weather prevents us from landing there, there's about 4 amazing islands, like Pebble Island you just saw, but also there's another one called Carcass Island, which is also incredible, with albatrosses as well, but not as many as Steeplechase. There's West Point, there's New Island, and there's also Kidney Island. So hopefully we'll be able to do one or perhaps more of those islands get on the way to Stanley, but it is absolutely weather dependent. Can't guarantee it. It could be a terrible weather situation, of course, but it's summer. It should be good. That's the plan. So I hand back to Matthias.
Thank you so much, Stu, for sharing what we all have in mind for the land-based tours on the Falklands and St. Helena Island. Well, we'll start with the people who asked their question in the mailbox. Anneke, present, asked the question, but I think it is answered for at least at this moment, right? Yeah. All right, then we go on to Monica. I don't know if she is present, but she asked whether it would be possible to join the land-based tours before joining a leg on the Oosterschelde, and if we would organize a land-based tour on the voyage from the Galapagos Islands to Easter Island. Well, Stu, perhaps could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so at the moment we haven't organized land-based tours on Galapagos or Easter Island. Look, if people really, really want them, I can try and, I'm going there in a few weeks, and organize either tours in the countries and just put forward a load of tour operators, or pull something together. But the truth is, in Galapagos, you don't really need us to organize a land-based tour. There's so many options that you can do there. So you don't really need us to organize land-based tour. But I'm going there in a few weeks. I'll absolutely collect as many tour operators as possible and put it all out there for you to look at.
All right. I'm so sorry. I had my colleague again, Elvira, muted. Yeah.
I just wanted to.
I cannot do that
so
when we were sitting across each other. So I like doing it here. No.
Sorry.
We also had a friend from, a guest who is joining on the voyage from Cape Verde to Fernando de Noronha. And she asked if people, the friend is actually meeting her there in Fernando de Noronha. Would it be possible for someone who is not joining the Oosterschelde to join the land-based tours? If that
Of course, with the greatest of pleasure. At the moment, we haven't got one for Fernando de Noronha. But of course, in the places that we've got land-based tours, of course, anyone's more and more than welcome to join. Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
And to again, a question for you. Is there a possibility for passengers on the sailing trips on the Oosterschelde to be involved in the research projects, or to even be a mentor?
Absolutely. So I'm going to dedicate a whole lecture for next month all about the research and the mentors. I know people have been wanting to know about the mentors for ages. We finally got it organized. So if you can just hold on a little bit, that'll be the subject for our next Q&A session, if that's okay. But definitely, especially on the research, everyone is warmly invited to take part in it. The more the better, during the voyage legs as well. We're going to be doing seabird surveys, whale surveys, and many other projects. So definitely, the more involvement, the better. Just see another question, if I may jump in, if you don't mind, Matthias.
Of course.
So Annika has kindly asked if you're doing a land-based tour, we want to organize a tour with less days. How do we organize that? It's literally email sales@redfernadventures.com. We can then work with the operators in the Falklands and cut it down to whatever you want it to be, or adjust the itinerary. So that's super easy. That's not a problem, absolutely at all. Brianne asked about if steeplechasing is only leg 9. Yeah, unfortunately, it is only leg 9. Leg 10 has to go straight across through the Magellan Strait. So unfortunately, for us to have a chance for steeplechasing, unfortunately, it is realistically only leg 9. That's the leg that we've allocated a few extra days, hopefully, to land at steeplechasing and other ones. The backup plan, by the way, if the weather isn't on our side, is that there's an amazing island really close to Stanley called Kidney Island. Basically, it's got lots of wildlife on, but at night it's super special because literally tens of thousands of birds called sooty shearwaters come in at sunset, and the sky goes black. There's that many. So if, as we're coming in across to the Falklands from Argentina, the weather isn't good, we can't land at steeplechasing, Kidney Island is a fantastic alternative that we should definitely be able to land at. So yeah, it should be really good. Cool. Sorry, just wanted to throw that in quickly.
All right. Is there anyone who would like to say something? No. Does anyone have a question who is present at the moment? I think reading all the questions in the Zoom chat, we have covered everything, but perhaps anything needs more. Oh, yeah, I see Marco Pestaloza, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. I've asked you to unmute. We cannot hear you, Marco. Not yet. Oh, hi.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Well, my question is a bit different. First of all, I'm really sorry I'm not anything close of the 18 to 25-year-olds, because after your talks, I would have just jumped on the board and stayed there for the whole 2 years.
Oh.
But I have sailed down the Antarctica twice and Patagonia and all that. And I saw this, more interested on the being on the ship kind of thing. I would love, I'm looking for a way to cross the Pacific. So my first question when I looked up at the Darwin200 with all the plans and everything, wow, this is fantastic. I'll jump on the boat in South America and I'll drop off in Sydney and then fly back. Of course, this is a little bit maybe overdoing it, and maybe half of the things are booked. And I wonder if there's any way that one could possibly do that with you in some way or another. It's a bit different than just doing one leg. It means being on the boat for like 6 months.
Yeah,
could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I think it is possible to combine legs, but just for a professional, just like for a professional crew, we say to them, you stay on board with a maximum of 2 to 3 months, because after that you just have to get away from the ship again to regain a little bit of energy and another perspective. So that is what we say. So if you want to combine legs, it's fine up to maximum
2 or 3 months.
Yeah, 2 months for guests, and then go do something else, and then you're welcome to return again. So but if you let us know, if you can send us a quick email with your wish list, then we can maybe do a suggestion on how we would do it. And also, of course, if there's still availabilities, because on some legs, we are lucky that we're already fully booked. So, but you will be a bit unlucky. So just
I've actually seen that at least, well, you know, if I looked at all the legs, meaning leg 15 to 24, I mean, given or taking it, be only half of it for the 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
There are 2 or 3 which are already fully booked, waiting list.
Exactly. So we have to puzzle a bit, and maybe it ends up that it's a perfect match between what we would recommend and what we take in bookings and what is fully booked. So maybe you could fly somewhere and then catch up with us again in another place. So we're happy.
Actually, I would be with my wife, so we're looking for a couple.
Okay, so that's also good to
kind of elderly couple.
Mention that in your email, and then we're happy to to puzzle with you and to see if we can fit something in.
Okay.
Yeah, please reach out to us, Marco, and well, we will do our best to explain what is possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It looks wonderful, though. I mean, I would have done it's fantastic. I think I have to tell my nephews to wait another 5-6 years until they grow up and do the whole thing.
There's still quite a lot of ability on the west coast of South America, which would be an amazing journey, going from the south of South America all the way up the west coast as well. I mean, that's an incredible journey.
Yeah, I know. I've done part of it. I've been down the Magellan Strait. I've been out in the Beagle Channel. And then been done, not all the whole thing, but it's the South Pacific that I'm missing.
Wow.
Anyway, it's been very helpful. So we now I know. I get a clear picture. So we see what we can do.
Please reach out to us. info@oosterschelde.nl, the Dutch land code, and Elvira or myself will be in touch, or we will have a call.
Is it info at?
Well, you can find our www.dutchstarships.com.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you.
We have another. Perfect, Elvira.
Thank you.
We have another question in the chat. Would someone be willing to teach a bit of astronavigation on the voyages? Well, Elvira?
Yes, we actually invite people, especially on the longer legs. It's sort of part of the whole experience that that we explain about it. So I think if you sail with us and you have specific interest, it's always to tell the crew, because they are more than happy to explain anything to share any knowledge they have. So if you have specific interests, let them know, and they will try to accommodate it and teach you and explain everything.
Is there anyone present who wants to ask?
I see another question about if there's a chance of any landings on leg 10. And I had to double check that because I wasn't sure.
Magellan Strait.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is that we first have to clear into Chile before we can do any landings. So if we're able to do a early custom clearance, then we are able. But if not, then we first have to go to Punta Arenas, and then we won't be able to make any landings. So on leg 11, it's pretty certain that we will be able to do landings, but on leg 10, it might be difficult. In the South American area, we're pretty dependent on what the authorities allow, and they've pretty strict rules and regulations. So of course we're trying at the moment to tell them, listen, we're coming over, we're doing this is something special, maybe we can arrange something, but we're not sure yet, or we cannot make any guarantees on that. So
I'll just quickly add, at Punta Arenas, when you do get there, irrespective of whether you land or not. It is such a cool city. I love it there. There's penguins really quite close to the city anyway. There's a replica of the Beagle. They've got 4 replica ships there. The city itself has got some amazing little restaurants and food. It's such an interesting place. So even if you get also there's bad weather or whatever, and you can't make landings on the transit to Punta Arenas, you definitely can visit a few sites nearby Punta Arenas with penguins and so forth. There's a really good king penguin colony nearby. So yeah, really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In general, we are at the shipping company and Stewart. We are doing our utmost to reach out to all the contacts we have been, we have met in the last 35 years of operating to make your voyage as most special as possible. So indeed, in most South American ports, we have to deal with naval or navy structures. So it's a bit harder, but we are reaching out to everyone who could help us to make a landing possible and to make your voyage even more beautiful. And we have a question regarding a hike on Tristan da Cunha. Well, if the weather circumstances allow and we are at first able to visit Tristan, to do a landing on Tristan da Cunha, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to walk there.
Yeah. So,
a hike will be possible, but the big question will be if the swell is not too big and we can go on shore. It's part of the adventure, but it is a risk. We have to be honest about it. So that we
yeah, that's absolutely true. Tristan is one of the harder islands to land at. But I went there on a ship about 10 years ago. It can be a bit tricky to land there, but the community is awesome. For those that don't know, it's the world's most remote inhabited island. There's about 270 people live there in one little village called Edinburgh of the Seven Seas. And if you're fortunate to be able to land, and hopefully that's the case, but it can't be guaranteed, to be clear, then yeah, you can have a little tour of the village. There's a volcano, a massive volcano that they may or may not be able to take you up. They might be able to organize that. There's some lovely walks all the way around the island that you can, well, not around the island, but around the settlement, to the patches where they grow their food. It's just amazing interacting. There's one little bar called the Albatross Pub that you have to get a drink in. Yeah, it's a great place. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we have good weather. Really, really hope so.
Well, Annika asks in the chat whether we intend to, or she is intending to stay about a week in Punta Arenas and then go to Ushuaia. Really wonderful. And in this particular case, we can help you. So please reach out to us per email, because all, well, more individual, voyage specifics we want to discuss in private. I think that's even better, but in Annika, I can help you with that.
Yeah, there's a travel agency in the Netherlands that we can put you into contact with. They operate there, and they have a lot of knowledge, so they can. We will give you the details. I also wanted to add, we have been working on the Darwin or the destination overview. You all received a version already with your booking confirmation. It's about all the places that we're visiting and a little bit about the climate, about how to get there and that kind of stuff. And we are trying to work out the places of embarkation and disembarkation. In some places we already know, in some places we have an idea, or we probably know where we're gonna be. So we've updated the document and it's on the community page. So it could be nice to check out your voyage if there has been any changes. For instance, if we will be at anchor or if we will be at the quay. So all the information we have now is in there. And as soon as we have a new update, I will of course let you know.
Perfect.
And if you, to add, if you have ever been to one of the destinations we're visiting and you have useful tips, or a restaurant, for example, that is worthwhile visiting, please share it with us, because then we can add it to the document, and every one of you who is visiting that place can benefit.
Yeah, I see also a question about Mangareva to Tahiti. If we are able to touch down on any islands, yes, we'll probably want to drop anchor somewhere, and it's of course patched with all kinds of nice islands. So of course we're gonna try to anchor there and probably have a swim and a barbecue or something. I can picture it already.
All right, I think we have covered all questions, and I don't see any hands raised. So I want to thank you all for joining tonight's Q&A. We will well, send out, of course, an invitation for next month. If you have any questions or questions that come up later during the week while dreaming about your voyage in 2023, 2024, 2025, please reach out to us, and we're happy to help. Thank you all for attending. Bye. And good evening for the ones in Europe. Have a nice day for the ones in the United States, and sleep well for the ones in
it looks very nice and warm over there.
Take care. Have a lovely evening.
Everyone.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.